It is 0 hour 30, Universal Time. I'm Jim Tedder in Washington. The leader of the Roman Catholic Church says he deeply regrets the angry reaction by Muslims to comments he made last week. Pope Benedict says the statements were not his own opinion. He says he was repeating the words of a 14th century Byzantine emperor. The Pope says he meant to open up discussions between Muslims and Christians. Muslims around the world have denounced the Pope's statements. On Sunday, an Egyptian group called the Muslim Brotherhood called on Pope Benedict to make a clear apology. In the Palestinian territories, Prime Minister Ismail Haniyeh has condemned attacks by Muslims on Christian centers. Gunmen have shot and killed an Italian religious worker and her guard in Somalia's capital, Mogadishu. 2 men attacked the Roman Catholic woman at a hospital where she taught medical school. Somali officials say 1 suspect was arrested. People in the area said they feared the attack was linked to Muslim anger about Pope Benedict's statement last week. In Rome, a spokesman for the Roman Catholic Church condemned the attack on Sister Leonella Scorbati. Iraqi police say a bomb explosion in Kirkuk has killed at least 24 people. The attack wounded almost 100 others. The officials say a gunman driving a truck fired at civilians. The officials say he then exploded the bomb in his vehicle near a police station. Many of those killed were inside the station. Officials say at least 5 other bombs exploded in Kirkuk, including 2 that targeted police. At least 6 people were killed in those attacks. In Baghdad, police have found 24 bodies that show signs of torture. Almost 200 bodies have been found around the Iraqi capital since last Wednesday. The Associated Press news agency is calling on the United States military to either charge or release an AP employee. The Iraqi man has been held for the past 5 months in Iraq. AP Chief Tom Curley says the United States should not hold Bilal Hussein without a date for his release. Mr. Curley says the arrest is not acceptable under Iraqi law, the Geneva Conventions, or any military rules. The Associated Press says its own investigation found no wrongdoing by the Iraqi employee. Israel has created a government committee to investigate the war with Hezbollah in Lebanon. The committee will investigate the decisions of Israeli political and military leaders during the war. A retired judge will lead the committee. Prime Minister Ehud Olmert has been criticized in Israel for accepting a ceasefire without destroying Hezbollah. He is also criticized for not freeing 2 Israeli soldiers kidnapped by the group. Also Sunday, Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah called for a gathering this Friday in southern Beirut. He says the event is to mark what he called Hezbollah's victory over Israel. You are listening to the news in VOA Special English. Peace activists have demonstrated around the world in support of greater efforts to end the violence in Sudan's western area of Darfur. Human rights groups, including Amnesty International, called Sunday a global day for Darfur. They organized gatherings in more than 30 countries. In London, crowds protested near the Sudanese embassy. They later held prayers in front of the official home of British Prime Minister Tony Blair. Earlier, Mr. Blair appealed to European Union leaders to pressure the Sudanese government and rebels to stop the war in Darfur. Ugandan rebel leader Joseph Kony has come out of hiding in Sudan as part of a truce with the Ugandan government. A negotiator for the rebels' Lord's Resistance Army says Kony has arrived at a neutral gathering place for the rebels. The International Criminal Court has charged Kony with war crimes, but Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni has offered to pardon Kony and his top commanders if they disarm and stop fighting. The Lord's Resistance Army is accused of killing, kidnapping, and torturing thousands of civilians in Uganda. 2 bomb attacks in Afghanistan have killed 2 civilians and wounded at least 14 people. The first attack took place in the southern city of Kandahar. A man in a truck carrying a bomb hit a group of vehicles carrying Canadian troops. 1 civilian and the bomber were killed in the explosion. 11 people were wounded, including 3 NATO soldiers. Hours later, near Kabul, a man exploded a bomb near a vehicle carrying American citizens. 4 people were wounded, including 2 Americans. The bomber was killed. In Pakistan, human rights activists have called on the government to cancel disputed Islamic laws on sexual attacks. The activists say the laws are ruining the world's opinion about Pakistan. The Islamic law requires female victims of sexual attacks to produce 4 males who can say they saw the attack. If this is not done, the female can be accused of illegally having sex. Last week, the Pakistani government and an alliance of Islamist parties agreed to a compromise. It would permit female accusers, without the 4 male observers, to take legal action in civil but not religious courts. The Dalai Lama is urging thousands of students to improve their communities and accept people from all countries. The exiled Tibetan leader spoke at a World Peace Conference in the western American state of Colorado. The event, called Peace Jam, brings together young people from 31 nations and Nobel Prize winners. They meet for 3 days. And now, briefly, here again is the major news of the hour. The leader of the Roman Catholic Church says he deeply regrets the angry reaction by Muslims to comments he made last week. A bomb explosion in Kirkuk has killed at least 24 people and wounded almost 100 others. And peace activists have demonstrated in cities around the world to end the violence in Sudan's western area of Darfur. That's the news in VOA Special English. Jim Tedder reporting.